Hey yo, it's your boy Dusko, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be showing you a few different ways of using drum loops instead of just taking them and dragging and dropping them. Let's get down to business, let's jump into the video. Alright, we're in FL Studio. So if we double click the loop and we right click the waveform, there'll be an option here to open in a SliceX channel. So after we open it up in a SliceX channel, the first thing I like to do is click this wrench icon. And there's this little spot down here, this little tab that says Perfect All Regions. So when I click Perfect All Regions, what that does is that it basically snaps everything to zero crossing so that there won't be any little clicks and pops, or at least it's extremely minor. Obviously, AI isn't always perfect. You may have to come in here and fool around with it just a little bit to get it sounding right. And the next thing I like to do is this little auto dump feature right here. I like to turn that off. And that's so if I edit any of these, it won't reset all the MIDI notes to the piano roll. Let's open up the pattern and see what we got. As you can see, everything's been sent to the MIDI, and I want to make my own pattern. I don't want to use this pattern. So what I'll do is I'll actually clone this, and I'll come back to this later to show you some other different types of things you could do with that loop. So let's go into the one that's completely free, and we can start going through the hits. So I'll spread that across like this. This is how this one sounded. And this is ours. So this is a really good way to do it because then you can use the uniform sounding samples within the drum loop. That's one of the ways I like to chop loops. And another way to chop loops, and I'll use this other one as an example here because we have it. So first things first, I'll just put this on a different pattern for now so it's not ugly and conflicting with what I'm trying to show you. So if we open up this pattern here, let's say we did want to just use this loop. You can tell that, there's hats, claps, and all these little groove elements, like these little bits of like offbeat claps and offbeat hi-hats and things of that nature. I'm going to find all the offbeat hats and groove elements. And then what I can do is I can affect it using these different controls down here. So we have the note pan, note velocity, note release, and a couple other things that we can affect if we want to dive into the SliceX itself. But I'll save that for another video. If you want to learn more about how to actually use the SliceX, be sure to leave a comment down below, and I'll see what I can do about making that for you. What I've done is I've clicked Command Shift, and I've clicked all these different little groove elements. So now they're all highlighted down here. You can see that they're in pink instead of orange. And what we can do now is we can click, well, let's go down to Note Pan, and let's do Alt-O on our keyboard. And that's going to bring up this LFO tool for FL Studio. So now we're not actually going to be affecting the pattern of the loop, but we are going to be affecting the technical bits and pieces of the notes themselves. So I think that sounds pretty good. It sounds a lot more spread out and dynamic across the stereo range. So like I said before, by clicking this control tab right here, you have a couple different options of properties that you can edit. So I'll leave that to you to decide how you want to go about doing that. And it's Option O on Mac, and I'll write the shortcut link on Windows for the video. So now I've showed you two different ways that you can chop loops, and I'm going to show you one last way that I also like to chop loops. This method, we're just going to use the actual wave file loop, the original one in the playlist. And if we right click this little wave icon here, I usually just go for these auto slicing loops. So let's do medium. So now let's chop this up into very small little pieces, and we can start removing the pieces that we don't need. All right, so I've cut out most of the groove elements, but I decided in this last little section here that we're gonna leave some of the groove elements just so we can have a little bit of variation. And by doing it like this, we now also have our own original loop that we've made from a different loop. So now what we can do just to smooth this out is we can add the fading feature on here, and we've highlighted all of them. So we can just pull this fade back a little bit, and it should get rid of any clicks and pops that we might have had prior to adding the fade on there. So let's give that a listen to. All right, so there you have it. That's my creative flow when it comes to drum loops. Hopefully that video helped you. If there's any other video ideas you have for me, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if this video helped you, and I'll be back next time. See you later.